Prepare for the real street fight and blood war. The third of the third, prepare to die for. Your life's on the line, so I'ma take yours. So who wanna blood dance with me? Leave your body wrapped up or even a street fantasy. In the square, yo, you best to beware. Street fighter, we ain't playing over here. One-on-one, kid, you know you get finished. Round one, round two, so come and get with it. Your heart ain't cold stone, forget about the power. Battle this out to the 24th hour. Paying the price that you couldn't deal with. Cold-blooded killers in my lockdown clique. Got no time to waste, we taking time bombs. Street fighter 3 like a scar on my arm. Take your first move, so what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world of Street Fighter 3. The third chapter, so what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world of Street Fighter 3. Make your first move, so what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world of Street Fighter 3. The third chapter, so what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world of Street Fighter 3. You'll rock what you got, block what you shot. Another chapter, what you get's what you got. Enough warriors here to fight, choose one. The best of the best will be the champion. Whose world is this after all? Capcom moving with lockdown forever, y'all. This contains scenes with violence and death. Viewers on discretion, some ain't ready yet. For the fact that they ain't ready, step up for what you got. For the bodies who ain't ready, take your regular spot. So what? Calm down before it's too late to stop. Trying to front like you was kings of the block. Step too close, kid, you might get shot. Only one master is going straight to the top. One false move, your whole game get flop. Only one master is going straight to the top. Something you wish you wouldn't. It's too late, you got involved, but you wish you couldn't. Past the first stage, thought you could live it. Now you see and realize you never could survive it. You're dealing with cold-blooded assassinators. Decapitate your body, let it go for alligators. You need it for your power, over here it's much greater. It's either you push start or try again later.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of the street soldiers avenge things.
See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes.
You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip.
Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers
All right. Thanks to you all for waiting. Starting in a literal minute here. Thank you all so much for waiting. Bum bum ba-da-dum, bum bum ba-da-dum. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry for the delayed start here. I just had to sort out some things and make sure that stream was ready. Alright. But yes, Mori's attorney coming today. I hate talking from the screen, but it's what I gotta do sometimes, you know? Just what I gotta do sometimes. You know what I hate? I found that recently because of something Google did. They sometimes like try to show you transparent images, but they're not truly transparent. Google just thinks they are. Not a big fan of that. Truly not a big fan. Yeah. I'll be answering all your questions in a second. I'm sorry, just a unthought technical issue came up. Which is my own apologies for that. Okay. You know, it's kind of funnier like this. Let's just leave it like this, screw it. Just as is. Alright. Yeah, we do this. And then we do... Stop doing that. And then we do this. Whoa! What the hell just happened? Oh, because it's not available. It's okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. There we go. This is a song I can vibe to. Headphones. Put headphones on if they're not wrapped around my flight stick somehow. Alright, hello everyone. Wow, my chair is really low. We're finally ready to get started here. How are all of you folks doing? That is me throwing something away from long distance. Hello, Kithrin. More anime lawyer simulator. Also, thank you, Bad Decision, for subbing for 17 months. Kind of insane. Another day, another machine slain in the name of the moon. Exactly. Hi, you're pretty hyped about the Wheel of Time show. What did you think of the show? I heard they took a bunch of creative liberties. So I didn't finish the show. I got like 6 episodes through and I didn't stop watching it because like it was bad or anything. It's just my friends completely lost interest and they were doing other things and I couldn't really get them to continue because they were so busy with everyday life. From what I did watch of it, music's a bit loud. Okay. Sorry, I can only... Sometimes the audio thing in OBS likes to lie to me and not tell me a good truth here. Okay, well, hello again to all of you. Yeah. In short, the Wheel of Time series took a bunch of things that made it a little bit better, in my opinion, but it all depends on how they do it in the future. Because I have some friends who immediately jumped on the, wow, they ruined it, this is awful train, but it's like, they're worried about things that happen like 6 books from now. So it's impossible to tell. Most of the worries people are having are things that will not affect the series for 5 or 6 books from now. So it's impossible to say. I enjoyed it. I thought they did a pretty good job adapting it. My expectations for, like, TV series adaptations of books are already pretty low. I don't have very high expectations, and I think they did an alright job. Even with the changes, and some of the changes are way better for television, I can say that. Hello, Lightspar. Welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be playing more Ace Attorney. Going to be hanging out, continuing Case 2. I also did add a couple new, pancake redemptions. Took away a couple as well. Just for warning, I did take away a posture check and the hydrate, because it was like, they weren't really adding anything to the stream. They were just buttons people pushed because they were there. And they didn't really, like, I feel like they just kind of drew away my attention for things like little. However, I did add a couple new things, so you can check those out in there. In your opinion, should a game remaster stay true to the original, or should it try to freshen up an older game experience? Do you mean remake? Yeah, they probably mean a remake. Depends on the game, I guess. It's really on a game-by-game basis. Like, when you go to remake a game, does it need a remade combat system? And do you feel like what your idea is actually makes it better? For example, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, my problems with that game have nothing to do with the gameplay. The gameplay is absolutely solid. I had a lot of fun with it. And it was definitely more entertaining to me than how the original played. However, the story was not done in a way that I liked. It really depends. It really, really depends. Like, on the game. Like, if you brought up a specific example, I could say yes. But there's specific examples where I'd say no as well. Like, oh man. I remember one of the ideas pitched for Street Fighter 4 was remaking Street Fighter, like, it was like 2 or Third Strike again, because they were so successful, or 5. Or no, it was 4. Except making it turn-based. And they wanted to make a turn-based Street Fighter because then they could create a game that everyone could play, and it would sell to the masses, and it would be great and everyone would love it. Luckily, that did not come to fruition, and Street Fighter did not turn into a turn-based series. Thank the Lord. It's an interesting concept, though, but I feel like if you make it turn-based, it just becomes like a card game. RE2 Remake's a pretty good. That one. I will say I do like the remake a bit better, because I went back and played the original. But I think it's just because, like, it depends on how you view a game, because it depends on how hard your nostalgia goggles can go. Because if you can call the original, like, Resident Evil and Silent Hill gameplay, like, a good time, then you're definitely from the era when those games existed. If you are not, however, those games feel awful. I've tried to get multiple of my friends to finish an older Resident Evil game or Silent Hill game. They've all stopped or given up or whatnot. They get super frustrated with the obtuse puzzles, with the clunky gameplay, the directionlessness that the game gives you. And I'll just say, like, in modern day, those games aren't great. I love them. But, like, realistically, I don't think they hold up as well. Wasn't the 3DS Metroid game a remake of Metroid 2? I don't think so. The 3DS Metroid game was its own thing. As far as I know, that's what I believe. There was a remake of the original Metroid called, was it Zero Mission? Was Zero Mission the remake? I don't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, I don't know. Because here's the thing. What's the goal of your remake, I guess, is the question. You can remake a game with the goal of, we want to give the older fans what they want and what they love and a chance to experience it all again. Or you can remake it with the idea of, how do we get new people into this series? How do we get new people to experience this old thing and not feel the time-worn design of the game? Because that is always an issue. Is, if you play a game in the past, and you may not realize it, but that game has so many flaws nowadays. It's like, Wait, was Samus Returns really a remake of Metroid 2? Huh, I didn't even know that. And I've played Metroid 2 as well. I guess it's just kind of hard to tell about just how it looks. I guess now that I think about it, yeah, it was. I'm baffled that I played through that entire game and did not realize that. Huh. Well, that's an eye-opener. I guess I was just so distracted by all the new mechanics and the difficulties and such, I didn't really notice. But yeah, I don't know. To remake faithfully or not to remake faithfully. However, there is one take I have that will... Time for the Xeno Fire Emblem cancel take. On stream. Here we go. Okay? Time for the Xeno cancel take from the Fire Emblem community. I think that the Fire Emblem sprites from the GBA games are beautiful. However, I think people embellish them and love them to a ridiculous extent. Like, I get it, they're very pretty, but when you look at a game that's made 20 years in the future that has 3D models and a completely different art style, and you're like, well, yeah, it's not as beautiful as sprites, it's like, oh my god, I get it, the sprites are good, I get it, I agree. But can we stop, like, comparing every game that comes out to the sprite work of an old game? Like, you know, when freaking Lords of Shadow came out, no one was looking at Lords of Shadow and being like, well, Symphony of the Night's graphics were just, oh, they were so excellent and polished, not like this 3D garbage. Granted, Lords of Shadow had problems that were for a different reason. But, I don't know. I feel like people... I understand the nostalgia for sprites, and I understand that they're beautiful, and people worked hard to make them, and I love them as well. However, you can't just hold on to these sprites forever and be like, everything that came after sprites is bad. I feel like sprites age better than 3D models. They do. Because they're a very general picture. And it's also because we're not really doing sprites anymore. The reason 3D models don't age well is because we keep improving on 3D models. To my knowledge, we are no longer improving on sprites. There are still people making really good sprite-based games, but there's no, like, new sprite technology that makes people go, oh my god, this invalidates everything before it, you know? It's specifically for that reason, that because we're not moving sprites forward anymore, because how do you do that? With a new game, you can easily take, like, a new God of War and compare it to God of War from the PS3 or PS2. And I say this as a person that grew up in an era of sprite-based games. I love the Castlevania series. I love Xenogears was a beautiful sprite-based game. You know, I grew up in these games. However, I do think it's a little, I do know Xeno. I think 2D Xeno was the greatest of all Xenos. 1D Xeno was kind of base, though. Oh, no. However, I do think it's... And it's good to have nostalgia, but I feel like it's almost, like, a terrible idea to compare every single thing that comes out to an art that hasn't really been improved in, like, 10 years. I shouldn't say it hasn't been improved. But it's like... There's no new technologies coming out for sprites, I should say. Sorry I had to go on this tangent today. It's just, I saw a very frustrating look at things earlier today when I was just reading some comments on, like, a Fire Emblem meme. And it's like, you thought, and just the amount of people just, going, you know, oh man, I wish these newer games looked as good as the sprites. And it's like, well... make all the animations with sprites. If you want to make the entirety of Three Houses sprite based, go ahead. I invite you upon that idea. Have fun. Because, you know, some games just can't do that. However, I will say I love sprites, and I do hope that they just kind of continue forever. And that we don't really have to abandon that art style, because I love them. They're good, and it, you know. But you gotta make your sprites also unique. That's another thing I was thinking about, actually, earlier today. The thing with sprites is there's so many sprite-based indie game nowadays. I feel like a lot of them blend together in art style. Like, with the amount of sprite-based indie games coming out every day on Steam, even, they all start to blend together into this very similar-looking style. And it's very hard to make your game stand out in this way, I guess I'll say. Like, that's actually one of the things that pulled me to Hollow Knight, Hollow Knight is such an interesting art style that it has. It's nothing, like, groundbreaking, but the way they really messed with the foreground and the background, and the way they blurred everything. The way that they make things come in and out of focus. Much like Ori and the Blind Forest, you know, it's a very similar trick to that. That really pulled me into the game. Most unique sprites to me would be the 3DS Mario and Luigi sprites. Mario and Luigi sprites are great. Like, I haven't played a Mario RPG game since Super Mario RPG. But, every time I look at those games, I just see how much, like, love is put into the RPG-style Mario games. Mario Luigi games, the Paper Mario games, all of it. The House's remake would be fun. Yeah, it'd be an idea. I have a feeling it would just end up looking a lot like Octopath. Oddly enough, I don't find myself liking Octopath sprites that much, and I know that's another Hotake, but, like, I don't know. I think I just prefer, like, the high-fidelity sprites that started showing up in, like, the late SNES and PS1 era, I guess I should say. Like, sprites that fully, I feel like, really fully modeled a character because they were closer to you. But I do understand that, Octopath was going for very early Final Fantasy look. Like FF4 through 6. Hollow Knight was really both cute and disturbing looking. But anyways, now I've gone off my sprite tangent, because I could talk about this for like hours, and because I've talked about this many times before. I don't know. I guess I try not to let, like, my own nostalgia for things that I do, or I like, hold me back. Like, if I was to follow my own nostalgia, I would still be screaming that Xenoblade was bad because it's not sprite-based, and that it's not the same as Xenogears, and not as deep, and yada yada yada, and doesn't touch on as many various subjects. But I played that game, and, you know, it was pretty damn good. I feel like once I remove my own... these silly little nostalgic memories from my brain, I can kind of see things for how they are, I guess. I don't know. Just a personal look. Anyways, let's get started on Ace Attorney. Before I go eternally into this realm of observation. I'm really curious where this case is gonna go, because last time we ran into the... whatchamacallit? It was the cool mechanic they came out with What do they call them? Shulms? Yeah, it was the mechanic they came out with Shulms. And I really enjoyed that. That was such a neat idea to make the investigation phase less tedious because, like, I don't know if it's just me, I could be wrong, but I think, like, the investigation phases can really drone on for way too long sometimes in Ace Attorney games. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but it's definitely a feeling I have. And it's not everyone, it's just, it happens sometimes. It just happens sometimes. And I know I can't, like, expect because, you know, the whole court case actually can happen because we have those early boring phases, right? Sometimes you need to go through some of the dull phases to reach these really hype moments. But sometimes I feel like they could really be cut down by a lot and you wouldn't lose that much from them. Okie dokie. Sorry, I'm just putting up the YouTube video that says we're now live because I forgot because I'm a dum-dum. Ba-bum-bum-bum. I feel like the Majula theme always, There we go. Alright. Just wanted to post that video so people could show up and do their thing. Whoops, I misspelled the title at Ace Attorney. A Keck Attorney. Okay. Let's get started, shall we? Woo! Started Apollo Justice recently, and man, I can tell this game is going to be a different ride. Yeah, Apollo Justice was actually the first... No, it was technically the second Ace Attorney game I played on my channel. I still have yet to watch the previous VODs. Time for confusion. Oh no. Yeah, it definitely will hit that confusion point. So I try to, like, space these out a little bit so people do have time to watch them, because last time I streamed this game was, like, Friday. But, yeah. Okie doke. Here we go. I need to hide this. There we go. Alrighty. Ace Attorney Chronicles. Majula theme, you'll always give me life, but you need to go. Bop, bop, bop. Bop, bop, bop. You know, one of the things I actually, Emerald Herald was thrown into space. I was actually talking, or I was seeing some, like, tweets earlier today. And it was, like, a big discussion in, like, a bunch of Twitch streamer. I guess the VTuber and Twitch streamer community. Which apparently there's a big, there's a situation going on right now. With a bunch of, super large streamers using the VTuber tag when they aren't really one. Like, you know, people, and when I say huge, I mean people like XQC or, you know, absolutely large streamers just using the VTuber tag because they think it's funny and it helps them get views, but they kind of start, you know, if a bunch of streamers start doing that, they start to just crush people who are actually doing the VTuber stuff. That was a big thing that came up recently. I don't really have an opinion on that, but, like, it's not the best thing to do, you know? You should be, like, you should be hoping for, like, people to come along and you know, make content. If I was huge, I wouldn't want to do that to people, I guess. Another thing that also came up is people asking me, and I've experienced this for a long time. Sorry to go on this tangent before we start. It's not really a tangent, but people have always asked, and I see this a lot on Twitter, is like, I don't have high energy. I'm not a high energy person, and I want to stream / do YouTube / whatever. I was worried about this for a very long time, because when you see people who get popular, there are people who have a ton of energy in their bodies. You know, they're always yelling and getting excited about something, and they can just do this for hours and hours and hours with this absolute well of energy. And the thing you have to realize is, like, just not all people are built like that, and that's okay. Like, I think the fact that I'm a very, I should say, a mellow person. I'm a mellow person that gets excited and hyped about things, I guess I should say. At key intervals. Really does a lot, because, you know, there's different audiences for every type of person. You don't have to be excited and yelly all the time, and you don't have to be mellow and whatever. Just be you. Be you and voice it out. Okay, let's get started. I need to turn the volume back up. I'm curious if this, the rest of this case is gonna actually take place in a courtroom or not. Because we're on the ship, but does that mean we're just... There's gonna be no courtroom? We're just gonna have the entire thing on the ship? I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clues as to what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us, as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute! What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh, yes! He's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these are securely back on my wrists. The chorus report came in. Let's go. Could get a little bit annoying fast. So your energy level's pretty good to me. Yep. Okay. Oh wait, since he's not over there, does that mean we can? I doubt he'll let me, but... That door leads to the second class area. It's locked. I can't open it. No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape. Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that. I feel like she's more on our side than when we started, but she's definitely, like... She definitely fully doesn't trust us. I can say that. That book on top of the table there really is huge. There's a pen with it, too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such... Oh, wait. We already went through this. Why does it say we didn't read this? Anyway, look here. Last night's log's mostly blank. Okay, yeah, we actually went through this already. I don't know why it says we haven't looked at it. I guess because we haven't looked at it this chapter. I guess we should just go back to our room. I don't see a reason to stand around here not doing anything. Time to go home to our room. Oh, yeah. The place for KAZUMA. Oof. And so, it looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject, Wonder if Inspector Hosonoga is unscathed. What do you mean, unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yeah. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. You, where did you go? Oh, sorry, I just went to the next door cabin to investigate. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman Hosonoga did. That new Japanese, was it? Later I will roll him into ball and throw him into cold room. Phew, he's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hosonoga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we got back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at Law Carnival. Yeah. Why would you do that? Like, oh yeah, when he gets back to Japan, let me give you a steak at the place where I almost got arrested and you almost failed to solve a murder. Yeah, that's gonna bring some good memories. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. Wait, he's here? Oh! Oh my god, did the captain just beat the shit out of him? What happened, man? Oh, you're back. Inspector! What happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe. When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. Looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. And hello, Zach. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh? I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Sholmes. I don't think he was German, though. Oh, that explains it. Shall we compare notes, then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it! Oh, that's like my favorite Hosonoga pose, because it's like, I've been literally beaten to a pulp here, but I'm still excited to help you out. Like, I still want to do my job. The cabin next door. What? Nikolava Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door? Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know what that graceful angel is? You're a ballet fan? Oh god! Thumbtacks! Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case at least. Oh, how? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oh no, I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. Ah, there is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh, what? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please! New information. What is the new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Barria's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Once again, the autopsy report. Oh, KAZUMA's post-mortem report. Oh, by the way, spoilers for anyone who skipped the last episode. KAZUMA dead. KAZUMA very dead. Oh, sorry. Sorry, you had to find out 2 hours later in the middle of this case. KAZUMA-sama. So, what is the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report. His neck was broken? Yes, it would seem so. Kiryu-chan! Majima just bursts out of the dresser. He's like, I'll kill whoever did this. Our boyfriend's gone. Cry. Yeah, it's sad. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first, I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in this system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. Well, we don't have any evidence like that quite yet. We have that... Oh, you know what? It was probably this thing. Whatever this is, it looks like a half-broken bell. This is probably the thing that caused it. Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. -1 to husbando. Oh no. Poor KAZUMA. I have a second copy of the report. I've actually been thinking about this about Hosonoga, like specifically, and I think it's such a refreshing thing to have an investigator with you who is competent. Any object leaves marks if you throw them fast enough. And the reason I say that is because, like, I love Gumshoe. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore Gumshoe. He is, like, the sweetest character ever. But, like, I've always wondered, like, how much better would our investigations go if Gumshoe was, like, a competent investigator? And this is kind of my answer right now. It's something I've always been curious about. And he's doing a real bang-up job. He's literally almost getting beaten up and dying for us. He is the exact opposite of Gumshoe. He is ready to, like... I mean, Gumshoe is also ready to, like, sacrifice his life for his work. He was just very, very dumb. Still like him, though. Don't get me wrong. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. Oh. You trust me? After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Oh, Susanoo feels like shit! So, he just freaking made a call-out post to Susanoo right in front of her. Hosonoga making a call-out post on his twitter.com saying, I trust my friends. And Susanoo sitting there like, oh. Oh, that feels so bad. The post-mortem report has been entered into the court record. The great detective. Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he? Yes, he seems to be enjoying himself a little too much, as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yes. Just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish! Was all he said. Let me turn down the volume just a little bit here. Shoe polish. I wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there by the broken piece of glass. Oh, it's the mark on the ground is shoe polish? Oh, so someone's foot skidded this way. I see. Ah, perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Oh, that was... Whoops, wrong character. Oh, yes, that must be it! But how could Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish? Did he lick it or something? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susanoo-san? Well, Kazuma-san was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red, then. Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Oh! Does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? Okay. I'm glad we finally acknowledged that. I don't know why we didn't count that as evidence until now, but I guess we just didn't know what it was? That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Ugh, okay. Poor Inspector. You look exhausted. Oh, no. Well... I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. He was my responsibility. Sholmes pulls a Connor from Detroit Become Human and just licks it. Nah, he smokes it. Oh yeah, smoking shoe polish, my favorite. Hold on a second. I have to turn off my, I'm gonna turn off my Steam overlay for a second. There's too many people hopping in and out of games right now. I'll just turn off the Steam overlay. Okay. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You are his friends. The truth is... I seem to have a very heavy head ever since I woke this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. Oops. Hold on a second. There we go. Gotcha. My head's still throbbing too, that's right. He did say that, like, when he found himself inside this wardrobe, that something was wrong with Ryunosuke's head. So, we'll have to find something out there. Is there more I'm supposed to examine? Okay, we're done talking to him, we're done talking to them. Now we can look at this again. Really is such a beautiful color, this glass. It looks like whatever it was... whatever it was is broken and cleaned into. But the other half is nowhere to be seen. And then there's the brick-colored mark, which is shoe polish, according to that great detective you seem to know all about. I suppose it must be from... Yeah, okay, we already established this. What I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else? Because he's a great detective, of course. That's hardly a reason, is it? I investigated thoroughly, but didn't find anything out of place. Is there anything I haven't looked at before? Wait, can I still present things to people, or is it just ask for it now? Okay, it's still just ask for presentations. Feels weird that it's having me just examine the entire room all over again. So this is the ventilator that joins Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes, that's right. And just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described it. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it. But she seemed as baffled as we are. Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm not sure. I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but... there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Now, there's something she definitely wasn't telling us. Can I just leave this room? I don't know if I should be leaving the room. I'm gonna leave just in case. So I don't sit around here examining things for... okay, good. Got it right. Hey, souls, welcome. Ah! Look, Naruhodo-san. Seaman Stroganoff is gone. Strong enough? The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us. Oh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember. The fact that a Japanese person is saying that is, like, the most hilarious thing ever. It's like, what's your name? Oh, my name is Boris. It's like, oh man, that's so impossible to remember. What's your name? Oh, my name is, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And it's like... yeah, okay. Tra-la-la? Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la, lira-lira-lay. Oh, my voice cracked there. Taking vocal lessons. Doesn't mean I'm perfect at it. I did it the great detective way. Oh, it's Sholmes. This caroling. I know that lark-like voice. But never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can investigate. Definitely. Before that stringy knot crewman comes back. It's Stroganoff, not stringy knot. Are you still here? SS Beria, first class, cabin number 2. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Susato-san. Oh! Where's she gone? Oh, she's looking through her clothes. Hey, what are you doing? Those are private things! There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can. I suppose you're right, for Kazuma's sake. The most notable thing here is that the trunk's open. Not just for Kazuma-sama. What do you mean? Can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. I want to examine that immediately. I'm glad she's getting some faith in us. Beautiful vocal stream. The vocals karaoke stream win. Someday. Someday. I only just started taking vocal lessons. One day, though, I do want to be good enough so that I can, like, actually sing things for covers and whatnot. Oh my! Miss Pavlova's case is open! It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction. It was funny, though, because when I actually started taking the vocal lessons, I will tell you this, I started taking them, and the lady, who I was taking it from, which is a fantastic opera singer, was talking to me, and she's like, wow, you have a lot of vocal stamina and range. Where did you, like, are you an actor or something? Like, did you take acting in high school, or have you sung before? And I was like, no. Why would she say that? And then I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, oh my god, it's because I do this. That's the reason. It's because I do this every day for the past 5 years. I mean, I don't do it every day anymore, but, like, you know. I got very used to, stretching my voice until I just got comfortable using it for hours. But anyways. She was hiding her special friend in here. Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret. because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Beria. And you know what I'm guessing her friend actually is? I'm guessing that her friend is actually one of two things. It's either a bear or a snake. The only reason I changed my mind to a snake is because I remembered before the case started, they had that little, intro thing where it showed, like, you know, Sherlock and Watson investigating a thing, and then there was a snake. That's my only guess. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? What if it just got out on its own? Bear snake. When will you sing the Pepsi Man theme? Someday. Naruhodo-san, are you there? Sorry, I'm right here. Yes, why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know? Maybe we'll find Narnia if we search long enough. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. That's actually one thing I noticed when I went back and I actually read Narnia. I know I keep getting off topic here, but, like, I went back and I started reading my old Narnia books, and man, I didn't realize, like, how shallow and empty those books are. They're so short, and they, like, miss so many things. I'm not saying they're bad, but they're definitely for the age group that I was when I was reading them. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in here, but no such luck. It would seem this teapot is empty. So the natural conclusion is that the Russians are a very thirsty people. Ryunosuke, you can't just say that about people. That's not okay. You can't just generalize like that. That's not okay, buddy. Or because Miss Pavlova only came to this cabin last night. She hasn't had any chance to make any tea yet? I mean, it could be either. It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I lay 1,000 to 1 on it. Oh my god. You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo-san? There's a food dish for a pet. I wonder what this little saucer's doing on the floor. Yes, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately. Ah, do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here? What? A leak? Is this ship quite safe? I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship is going to sink. No, you're right. Of course you're right. She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? It's coming from the ceiling. Suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket. Shall we have a little look and see what's been thrown away? Naruhodo-san! It's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know. Ugh, those eyes. You were just looking through her clothing! What do you mean? She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice! Hello, Sharkfin. There's hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. There are just a few books on the desk, nothing else, by the looks of it. Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied in this cabin for any time at all. That's true. I wonder what kind of books she likes to read. Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian. Thanks, Susanoo. True detective. Thanks. I think I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo-san. Kindly remember that. What is wrong with you? God, I'm helping you the best I can. Also, I'd like to point out, this basically just proves my theory that the boat at one point had tipped in one direction, and that's why everything fell off the table to the left, in the room adjacent to this is because the entire ship had tipped to one side. And that's why everything collapsed off the table and why there was a skid mark where Kazuma's shoe polish was. Which makes me think, you know, it would be absolutely crazy, but what if... But wait a second. That autopsy report doesn't sound right at all. They said that Kazuma's neck was broken, right? If his neck was broken, he would have a really tough time. Yeah, I don't think that murder message is written by him. That wouldn't make any sense. That was really neat handwriting for having your neck broken. And the shoe polish slip, that must be because of the boat tipping. So the boat tipped to the left side, everything fell over. He was wearing neatly shined shoes, managed to slip and break what he was holding. And somehow this led to him damaging his neck. Which means there is a slight possibility that this was just an accident, but I don't think so, because Ace Attorney. So. All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one. Yes, the floor is made out of floor. Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps... Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase? I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage. Not everything bad that happens on this ship is because of me, you know. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here, too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. Alright, let's look over here. Can't look through her bag. Her bed is unimportant. I'm thinking that this is the golden speckled band, is this thing that's hanging off the, banister here. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin, too. Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. No, 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 no. She barely hesitated there, and she gave it a good tug, too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. So we investigated that. What about the vent? Can I see in here? So this is the ventilator that connects to Kazuma's cabin next door. Yes. Although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Ah, maybe it's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. Yes, that is a possibility. Anyway, last night Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. I've investigated pretty much everything, haven't I? There's the rules, but I've already seen those. I wouldn't see a reason to have to go investigate them again. I guess I just have to investigate this. Just wants me to. Oh yes, they're displayed in this cabin too. Look, the SS Various rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Her special friend. I mean... I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. It's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh, yes, so do I. I think I'm pretty much done in here, unless I want to look at the door. This cabin door has the same simple, sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside. Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, when the door is made of metal, there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. I mean, if the ship tipped to the left, like I was saying, these doors could lock themselves. And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through the crack of the closed door, either. I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Russian sailor steps on a Lego. Susato. This could only mean Ryunosuke did it. Yeah, Ryunosuke did everything wrong. It's purely their fault. I don't think we're done here, but I'm gonna go back out into the hallway just in case, because I don't see anything else to investigate. Yeah, okay. I think we're not done there. I just need to go look at some things. Because we didn't even find any new evidence in there. So there has to be a bit more I haven't looked at. Let's see, we looked at this, we looked at this, we looked at this. The bed isn't an object, I guess. Her bag isn't an object for some reason. The door's been looked at, the sign's been looked at, the bookcase has been looked at. The bag's been looked at. The horn's been looked at. The trash has been looked at. The dish has been looked at. This dining set's been looked at. The chair's been looked at. The coat hangers can't be looked at. Is there something important I'm missing in here? Door, cabinet. Oh wait, I know. I need to investigate the evidence a bit more. Floor is indeed the floor. Oh, I haven't actually read the post-mortem report. Male Far Eastern, sometime between 1 a.m. and a little past 2 a.m. Okay. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. The victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result. Yeah, if it was instant death, he couldn't have wrote the message. One of the oldest tricks in the book. The victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result of a strong blow to the area. No obvious external injuries or traces of poison. Oh, I see Kithrin redeemed one of my newest pancake redemptions, which can't really be used in this game because I'm not like playing a character, a game where I can select a character. But yeah, normally you would. That's a misclick. That's a 15,000 pancake misclick. If I'm ever playing a game where like I'm playing it in rounds, I'm selecting characters. If you redeem that, you get to choose the next character I play. So be on the lookout for that if I ever play like a fighting game or if I play like a, you know, like a MOBA or a shooter or something like that with characters. Okay, I can't examine this. And I've already pretty much... I know he didn't write this. That's much too neat for someone who instantly broke their neck. My pancakes. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Never actually looked at his, pin. Symbol of Yume University. Every student wears this pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like the spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Although it does cause problems. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on the badges. Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders, a sharp pin for a sharp mind or something. That's actually something that I always worried about when I was younger, because, when I was younger and I was in, like, high school, I used to wear, I don't know if any of you have ever watched it, but if you've watched Gurren Lagann, Simon wears the little drill bit around his neck. And I was always scared of that thing because that thing was so sharp. If I took the wrong fall, that thing would have pierced my neck and or chest, no problem. So I was very careful with it and very careful not to end up stabbing myself with it. Alright. Well, I guess we're done here unless it wants me to re-examine this bookcase. All the books provided for the passengers occupying this cabin now are neatly arranged on the shelf. Yes, it's very unthinking to dance around inside the cabins. Tell that to Miss Pavlova. Lived life on the edge, huh? Well, anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy. Yes, thank you. I actually think we're done here. I don't see anything else we need to investigate. We're going through this. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to go and ask about some other things, because no evidence has been found. I have looked around the entire room. Yeah, we just need to leave, I guess. There's not anything else we can do here. Maybe if I look to the other side of the passageway? Out here? Oh! There you are! What is he doing? Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look! Wow, you never know where he's going to turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. Tra-la-la-lira-lira-lay. I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply in extremely high spirits? Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky Herlock was about. Excuse me? I solved it all and I stood tall. I did it, the great detective way. I had like a melody going on, but I dropped it. Oh no, he's singing a parody of My Way. And thank you for following, Sandwich Bob. I hope you enjoy the streams. Dadass. Mr. Schultz! Ah! What is it? You want to fight? You want to go? You want to throw down? We'll take this outside, Naruhodo. I swear to God. I'm ready to throw hands. Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now is as good a time as any. I very nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now, can you put those fists away? Damn, he was ready to fight. I'm about to fold this fool. Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh, yes, the ship's log. And did you find out anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. I said entries, but I said entries. Which means we have nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman oft stands sentry in this first-class passageway. And he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes? Nothing to report. Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. Do you mean... Yes. There were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now. But we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. Okay. I guess it's pretty good reasoning. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Oh, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes brilliance. What is it? Are you okay? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning. For some reason, nothing more. Oh, I get it. Is it possible that when the boat tipped to the side, a bunch of people hit the wall and knocked themselves out in unison? I don't know. That's just a theory I have, because it would make sense, because... So obviously, there was a murder, because, KAZUMA didn't write that himself. However, we were knocked out cold, because her head might have hit the thing, and if the boat tipped as well, he might have hit his head as well. And no one remembers it? I mean, that's a stretch, but it's Ace Attorney, you know? He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. He's just going down the passageway singing freaking Lady Gaga to himself. Is something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just, well, I feel the same. Sorry. Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. Sort of continuous throbbing? Oh, you too? Please don't show up again. Well, I guess we'll just go back to our room. There's not much else we can do. I mean, we can investigate the stuff from earlier, but... I need to look at this. So it's clear that these letters were written with the ink that was somehow split on the floor. And they spell the Russian word for wardrobe. It does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there. But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelt out my name, don't you think? Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last words or word in Russian. Which begs the question, who did write it? Osnoga, do you have anything else to say? No? Okay, you're good. You're good, man. Well, I guess we'll just go back to Miss Pavlova's cabin? Uh-oh. Oh, what's that? Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted for quarter mile 4. Full stop. Hard starboard. All hands brace for impact. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? Oh no, it's tipping again. Susato-san, hold on. Susato-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine, thank you. Naruhodo-san. Looks like we avoided a collision. I think... Yes, the ship has come to a stop. Oh my goodness, what about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Uh-oh. Oh, the door locked! I was right! My theory on it! The door locks when the ship tips to the left. Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Okay, so that actually narrows down suspects. No, it actually doesn't narrow down suspects. But it explains why they had to break the door down to get in here. Because after Kazuma-san died, the door locked itself, which is why we had to break it to get inside. And right now, a lot of this is pointing to the captain, because the only, for me at least, we haven't met the captain, but the only thing that I can think of, and the only person that has that sort of permission, is the captain who's giving the orders to steer the ship, or the person steering the ship themselves. Are the only people who could make such, like, outrageous accusations. Or the person that's, like, in charge of, like, you know, we're gonna crash into something, do the thing, you know? Oh, that sounds like Inspector Hosonoga. Are you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly! What? The bolt? Look at that! The door's bolted! Did you do that, Susato-san? No, I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did... And look at the books. They're just like they were before again. Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open up the door and let the inspector in? I'd better tidy this place up first. What? Why? Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. That wasn't even an hour and a half long. That was actually like one of the shortest streams I've done so far. I feel... I want to continue, but like... I want to go. I want to keep going. I want to do more. That wasn't very long. Like, most of these streams have been 2 hours, but I'm afraid of getting stuck here for like another whole 2 hours, you know? We'll do it. Who cares? Ninth January, SS Beria, Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. Hosonoga, are you dead outside? What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. So, I'm guessing what happened is, mayhaps we initially, the reason why everyone may have quote-unquote hit their head, is that they weren't ready, and no one called out the emergency stop or raised an alarm, so everyone fell and hit their head. I mean, that is an absolute stretch. But, like, it's Ace Attorney, you know? It's the best thing I could think of. Unless all these vents were connected to create some sort of, like, super poison fog. Like, it's giving everyone headaches. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ah! You wicked intruder! Dressed in all black, you are the devil! Sorry? Me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case, how could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. It is not enough that he has killed a man. Is it not enough? Da, and he is a stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? What? Why does that man have red stripes on his face? Don't know yet. We might find out in the future. Take him away. He's a trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away. Trespassing. Killing. She is right. You are the devil. It doesn't look good, does it? There is a cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonoga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Sholmes, are you out there? Miss Pavlova, can I get out? Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but get out now. You just need to investigate in here to help understand what happened to... Screams in Russian. It's no use. She's not going to listen. I need to find someone who will. I think Hosonoga's about the only person who will. You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. Entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I really need some help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. I need a hero. Banana-na-na-na-na. KAZUMA comes back to life. He's like, I have you. Please, just give me a little more time. I do nothing for you. Except show you the way to the ship's prison cell. Thanks, but no thanks. But I'm innocent. I didn't kill anyone. And trespassing and stowing away. Well, you know, sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues, and well... Enough! You're guilty! Ship's cell is the only place fit for you. Come on, there has to be someone! Rinosuke, just say oh no 3 times. Some savior to rescue me from this crisis. Don't tell me he's in the room. I swear to God, if I look to the left and Sherlock's there... What the fuck are you doing? What is he doing? Why? What is the reason? How did you get in? What the? What are you doing up there? He's wearing the tiara. Mr. Sholmes? Naturally, I was analyzing what weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? Huh. This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine that it would bend... that if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. I think just now, I think just now him being on the freaking, the hook is the biggest upset I've seen in the chat in a while. I have never seen so many people type at once at something in like my last 3 months streaming. He's fighting the air, yeah, of course. Ah, you again, the great detective. Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Beria, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? What? Really? Yes, I've eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I'm about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Oh, we get to do the Sholmes thing again. Let's go. I'm so happy. Let's do this. Huh, you have solved it? Even Hedgehog understands this case. All we knew who was responsible for killing student boy this morning. When we found criminal in wardrobe. It is the stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it! The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. We literally just proved that it can lock itself. Whatever. And we can still prove it if they go next door. Never mind, the lock's broken. It won't lock itself. If they go into any other room on this side of the ship, it should have locked itself. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories. Duh, locked room. That is point. The room, it was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. It's talking about the air vent. The ventilator! Man. The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It's not possible! Huh. But it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the murder and the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Okay, here we go. 1, 2. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! What the... What? I was right, it was a snake! Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the Speckled Band. A snake? Indubitably. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Hmm? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the Striped Band, wouldn't you? You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How could they trap Kazuma into thinking the snake looked different? Did they throw glitter all over the snake and then send it to bash Kazuma's head in with a blunt object? What? How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. The whole thing is nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one. Last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. Okay, that part doesn't make any sense. Unless her snake is actually like a Russian soldier trained in the ways of combat, then I don't think so. No. She turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right, he hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi. It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh, here we go again. I'm so hyped. It's my favorite part. Let's go. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you can't deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin in that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. Oh, it's trying to bite Sholmes, damn. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation, then, can we give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? She held her side there for a second. What does that mean? Unless the speckled band is the tiara? Was the tiara in the vent? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. What is that? Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Sloughed, I've never heard that word before. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No? I don't know what you're talking about. This is a long-ass deduction. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake, whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. Snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. What was that last part? That was the most wild, ridiculous speculation I've ever heard. How Mr. Asogi died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been appraised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstance of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. He broke his neck. No, it would have had to constrict him, actually. It could have done it by wrapping around his neck and constricting him. Which would sort of make sense, because then that would explain why KAZUMA reached for his sword to kill this thing. Huh. Now, if we take that as a fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it all at the scene of the crime. However, none of this makes sense because there's writing on the floor, and snakes can't write Russian. I mean, maybe they can. Maybe there's some really smart snakes out there, but last time I checked, reptiles don't exactly have perfectly trainable brains like that. They have survival instincts, not much more. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There's no point in feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. Who would win, one samurai lawyer boy or one snake? When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't... It is telling that the victim made a note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. Snakes don't really work like that, but okay. To train? Indeed. You put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. Aren't snakes? Aren't they deaf? They don't have ears. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Snakes have ears? Okay. I thought they were missing one of their 5 senses. I can't really remember what it was. Oh, that's right. It's that they have really shitty eyesight. That's what it is. Yeah, they rely on smell, touch, and vibrations. Okay. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. Well, we're about to infalliate your logic right now. I don't like the fact that I just used the word infalliate. That feels wrong. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. That was way longer than I thought it would be. Though that was a lot of lines of dialogue. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you'll observe a saucer of milk. That the promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible! You solved the mystery! Amazing! Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable, as the Russians say. I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course, what's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madame. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Oh. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example, but the logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Oh, they don't have ears. Ah. Yes, so I'm not sure it'd really be possible to signal a snake by whistling. Madame, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. They didn't do anything wrong. There is one other thing. You have more? Snakes use scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins. Then it should try harder! Please don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say... Why is it showing him? Is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine that the snake could have a part in this. Oh, now I get. That's why he has the lines on his face, because the snake... This isn't the first time the snake's wrapped around his face. I get it. That's why he has red marks, because the snake is actually his. I don't know why I didn't pick up on that sooner. It should have been an obvious fact. I think we need to step in and help again. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, Let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? You've done it again? Your handcuffs are gone. Where did they go? No one's on. Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now everyone, let us begin. This is Otto dismantling the Sherlock story of the speckled band, which is quoted at the start, and similar situation occurs, and a snake is the culprit. So it's basically this, there's a red herring. Ah, kind of neat. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Here we go. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Let's go. A beloved speckled snake. Yeah, he said a lot of stuff here. This statement goes on for a while. Let me just see what I have in the court record really quickly. Miss Pavlova, moments ago, you claim the following. His death has nothing to do with me. The whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true, but she is kind of being yelled at by a weird British man. She looks as though Kazuma's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then? Let's take a moment. And really do look very closely at Miss Pavlova. She's kind of holding her wrist, like she remembers being held or something. Oh, it's one of the things where you get to... Oh! I knew it! Her pet's like a bear or a cat or something. The snake isn't actually hers, it's his. Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound. It looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too. Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here.
Yes!
Let's go! Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? Ah. When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. Is it under the table? I was thinking it might be under the tablecloth the way she glanced to the left. It seems very likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws. Do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet which claws might grow. Well then, poor Danger Noodle. If that snake isn't her pet, what is the true identity of this friend of hers? You should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. Oh. It is a cat. I was kind of hoping it was a bear. Oh, look at the photograph in this frame. It must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Oh, and the bell! The bell on the cat! That's the thing that's broken in Kazuma's room. That's the glass thing that's broken. Meaning that the cat did go in there. In the speckled band he saw? Huh. Yes, that's true, but personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we better take a closer look at this.
Yes!
Little kid. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes! The scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ah! She's taking physical damage. Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit the description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have to answer this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you're trying to, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would have ever known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Schoen's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something. I thought deduction was a specialty. Or maybe making me believe that that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that's the skin of a snake. In which case... just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Is that like the tail of the weird Russian hat she had? It was like one of those raccoon hat tail things? What the hell is this? What is that? Oh, it's a cat toy! Well, it is speckled and it's a band, but what is it? Seems to be soft and fluffy. Long piece of cloth of some sort. And that looks like a handle at one end. Maybe that's a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently. How's that a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it. Sounds positively adorable.
Yes!
Yes. The thing you are trying, but failing to conceal, is, a cat's toy. Precisely. And the true nature of the now infamous speckled band... it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. Because, was their cat missing and they were trying to search for it? You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator in the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Oh. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. A truly troublesome feline, young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up to the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Hello, Linkaro Twitch. Welcome to the stream. You want chaos in the boat? Hope you're enjoying your time here. So the cat break Kiryu. Yeah, I broke Kiryu's neck. The cat killed Kiryu. Darka, she is so naughty. Beloved kitten. But that's only topic 1. Moving on, we welcome... Wait, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. What Mr. Shulm says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma's body. That's right. But Mr. Shulm seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Yes. I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed. The breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as a fact, we could reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. No, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. I mean, it won't, because I said there was no, marking. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly? It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? There's a lot going on here. I'm gonna guess the mark on the floor.
Yes!
Shame our samurai warrior husband was murdered by one small kitten. I mean, kittens can be dangerous. You have no idea. They're little murder creatures. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I now carry as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. Undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's lace leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped, because the cat was there. Was that it? Please, no. By a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. suffering a fatal blow to the spine. The victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. No. Oh, don't tell me KAZUMA actually tripped over a damn cat. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. I don't believe it. KAZUMA-sama merely... Oh wait, no, wrong character. I am suddenly Russian. KAZUMA-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more. It can't be true, I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But... And if this part of Mr. Shelm's seduction is right, Miss Pavlova was trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin. Somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Yeah, there must be something else in that case. The tiara? And that's the speckled band he saw, I'm guessing. Oh, wait. What is that? Is that like a mark, or is that just what the case looks like? I'm gonna guess it's the tiara.
Yes!
Nope, that's wrong. Tried to hide the evidence in plain sight, didn't you? It's this tiara. You don't give me that wide-eyed, incredulous stare. I know the truth. The 20,000 rubles is enough to make anyone lose their head. Oh, that's actually cool that they wrote custom things for when you got it wrong. They normally don't do that. They normally just have like a very generic "you got it wrong" line. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting to never have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. Oh, sorry. I'll try again. I wish there was a way to make, like, the dialogue speed up a little bit. Like, I know it's supposed to be the effect of them talking in sequence, and it really does add something, but it's like when I'm going back through dialogue, it's just like, go! Hurry! Forward! Hold on. I need to look for a moment. Am I supposed to guess it's in here? Didn't we look at that and he said it was empty? This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's the other side of the bell. Okay, I ignored it because I was like, well, KAZUMA looked in it earlier and was like, hey, there's nothing in there of importance. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? What if it was the traveling case itself? Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's what I was actually thinking for a second. I had that same line of thought, and I thought the thing on, like, the hood of the traveling case was like some weird liquid or something like shoe polish for a second. But no, that's not the way it went. Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Yes!
Waste paper basket. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Ah. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. Mrs. Asogi's. KAZUMA was a woman the whole time! I knew it! But what if the traffic case is actually a chicken? I feel like your chicken theory's been debunked a long time ago, sadly. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean, as you can see? Did you bring the other piece with you? I thought it was still in the other room. Oh no. So, Ms. Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? Conclusion, Pavlova's actually KAZUMA in disguise. Yeah, they're gonna rip off their fake disguise and be like, it was me all along. I was testing your ability to lawyer around, Naruhodo-san. Now let's make out. You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know. In that hushed Russian accent of yours. Won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be...
Yes!
If you look at this photograph... you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question. The truth is caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble... Let's go! Your absent feline friend, Darka. I love seeing those two do that. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Death by tripping over a cat. Deduction complete. Elementary. I mean, even so, it's not like the cat wrote in Russian. Unless she came in and did it because she was afraid she'd be accused of murder. I feel like it goes deeper, but I'm not sure. Why didn't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, he scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that's how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed with Darka with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point, you thought it's safe to try to lure the kitten back again. By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator into the adjoining cabin. Darka always loves this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. So the faint whistling sound KAZUMA wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Oh, no way. Was KAZUMA actually killed by a cat? I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. And afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. KAZUMA was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Burrier is a large vessel. Even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Sogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, a combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. Imagine if it happened like the D-Dog kills in MGS5. But what became of the kitten afterwards? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Darko is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again. Does that thing even have air holes in it? Couldn't your cat have suffocated? Gracious, that cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that the young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. So the writing on the floor still lingers, though. I was too scared. Scared that they would have sent me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it and where did it come from? It's his. He looks so happy with the snake. What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board this ship? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirozko. What? That snake belongs to you? He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him here. Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? I don't think the snake ate the cat, because it would be much more, large. But animals are not permitted on board. Although, it's not unbelievable to think a snake may have hidden from a cat, but seeing as how that snake's just attacking and gripping his face, I think the cat might have lost, honestly. Hard to say, though. Huh, we are at sea for 1 year. Yeah, that's actually very true about the Russian military. I don't know if they still do that anymore, but back in the 1950s, if you were in the Russian military, you were at sea for years at a time, at times, just never docking, never getting to do anything. You were literally just floating out on the sea for anywhere from 4 to 5 months at a time, never seeing land. And it could even extend to years, to multiple years, on anything aside from checkoffs, like never being allowed to leave. It was definitely a moral loss on some of the Russian soldiers. Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake, surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting him in. No venom. Huh? Pirozko does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He's adorable, like Granny. It's venomless? Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. Once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Huh, like they say they milk chickens? Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Pirozko eats mouses. Big fat round mouses. Oh, so... Is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. I mean, actually, sometimes feeding a snake a dead mouse is not very good. Like, some snakes will get it, but there's a lot of snakes that don't get, like, that dead animals are food. Like, they actually have to see the animal moving before they will take the action to eat it. I know it as someone who's actually owned 4 snakes in his life. You have to give them something that is living, moving, or making some sort of noise. Because you can sometimes stick food directly in a snake's cage and they won't even notice for like weeks. You have to feed it to them alive, or at least make it look alive. And that's why people always walk up to me and they're like, you feed your snakes living animals? Isn't that inhumane? It's like, they won't eat dead animals. You don't understand. A lot of snakes just don't get it. If there's like a non-moving object, they're not vultures. It's not how they work. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It's not my fault. I did not make up stories. My Pirozko has nothing to do with this incident. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. I don't think that's correct. Miss Pavlova? I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then... No matter the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But... What are you talking about, Miss Mikatoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events and accidents. Oh, everyone's forgetting about the Russian writing. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Shouldn't that be... This should be, like, uber obvious. I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh! I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. Distraction? I hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Oh, come on! Oh, not again. When did he do that? Especially when they're on your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. Okay. That's interesting. He was hoping to make sure that we could go free, even if it meant that it wasn't necessarily the truth. So that way we didn't end up in like some British prison and everyone could get off scot-free. You were Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. KAZUMA was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The Key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, shall we begin? Yes. Let's go! What we should ponder first... The writing? Please tell me you're gonna focus on this. This is such a huge deal. Is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident, or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must first establish in this instance. We've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but it's still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's what really happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin, it's undeniable. His death couldn't have possibly been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. It's time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident.
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. Sorry, I'm choking on nothing. There is no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. That script. It's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry? What do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Ugh! Which means, after the victim fell onto the floor, he couldn't have written anything. Because he was already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there. If what Miss Pavlova told us was true... What? So Susato-san noticed it too, then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words, that would be... I'm actually gonna look into this before I, present anything. Just gonna review the scene really quickly. Just want to read this. Hear a faint whistling sound, speckled band tingling through the... There's a couple things I'm thinking of right now. It's just, I want to pin down what it wants from me. There's no obvious external injuries or traces of poison. Strong blow to the area. No traces of external injury or poison. That is a reason. There's also this, which is, hey, around that time, nothing to report, and then it just stopped. Also, I know this is irrelevant, but can I... Okay. I was just looking. I wanted to see if I could turn this photo around and maybe there'd be something inside the back. I had that idea in my head and I'm like, Yeah, that's it. Just looking around to see, make sure I didn't miss anything at all. It would be... The only thing I can think of, because we've presented this, we presented the post-mortem report saying he died instantly. We presented this showing that someone wrote the message. These two pieces of evidence are irrelevant. However, the detail I think we're looking for I doubt this is the answer. I'm going to try it. But that doesn't prove that it wasn't an accident. This has nothing to do with it. No, I don't want to look at that. Is it what it says about the wardrobe? Because if it was an accident, why would someone write the word wardrobe? Is that what I'm trying to present? And a Russian crew being able to read this would be unreasonable. Can I maybe present this?
Yes!
I doubt that's gonna work. What point are you trying to make with that evidence? Okay, no. They're asking for something else. Trying to see how KAZUMA's death really happened, I think. You're starting to see nothing of the sort. And that was the evidence to prove it. If it was no accident, then what should we be looking for is one of those two things. Either the absence of something you would expect to find at the scene of an accident. The absence of something you would expect to find at the scene of an accident. Or the presence of something you wouldn't want. I guess it's like the marks. Okay, that's what it's asking about. It's asking about the fact that he had no signs of injury. I confess you're rather languid. I see. Doesn't fill me with confidence, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe in you. Well, more than Mr. Sholmes does anyway. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. The clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story. The evidence is right there in KAZUMA's cabin. Okay, I get it. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words, I'm going to say it's this in here that says there's no obvious external injuries or traces of poison. Because that seems a little far-fetched. I bet this is going to be wrong, but I'm going to present it anyway.
Yes!
Yep. Damn it. Obviously, don't give me the answer in the chat, because I just want to map this out in my head itself. You got this, Eno. Thanks, buddy. Sometimes I feel like I'm on the right track, but the game just wants something hyper-specific from me. And I just have to figure out what that is. You know. That's all it wants from me. Is there something I've missed here? I'm gonna look at the scene again. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bank this. I'm gonna present this and hope that there's something here I haven't seen. Or maybe even I could just look at it and examine it? There's his mouth. Sorry, Kazuma. I'm making fun of you. I don't know, is he maybe holding something here? Or is like... I don't know. Where's that?
Yes!
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Ah! I feel like it's a piece of evidence maybe I haven't examined fully? Maybe that's the issue, is there's something I haven't examined all the way. I guess I can't actually examine this. No, I can't. It's a bummer. There's nothing I can actually examine in full physical space, is there? Oh, wait. Remind me, did I already present this? Because this is another contradiction as well. It's saying that no one ever went into his cabin from, Stroganov here, but Stroganov's reports end... Yeah, his reports end right when Kazuma supposedly dies? What time did it say he died? A little past 2 a.m. Sometime between 1 a.m. and a little past 2. I don't think I presented this. I think this has to be the answer. Or is it this, maybe? The mark on the floor? We're gonna try again.
Yes!
Oh, I got it right. Shit. Good job, me. This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But that's the glass bell the kitten had around his neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So I already have a satisfactory explanation, so what flaw is there in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's what really happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in the cabin? Oh, okay, that's what it wanted me to point out. I get it now. Okay. Oh. That is a question. Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in the waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh, no. Both these pieces of evidence were clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in his room. It must have been you! And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's... Who said that? You're wasting time! Oh, it was him. Someone else was there? Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. That's because the ship tilted. The only other person that's in cabin when the young student died was you. Yes, that's true. But also not true. It's true. I was in cabin when it happened. You're shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I could have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message. To be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe on the Russian in the floor. On the floor. In an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. But how did they know we were in there? Unless they heard... Oh, she could have heard us talking through the vent, actually. If she heard us talking, she'd know that there were 2 people in here, and they would talk about the wardrobe. She would have heard everything. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor. The fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would have barely cast any light onto the floor there. I don't know, it looks pretty bright to me, but maybe it's just imagining things. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. Wouldn't it have shined in the dark though? Whatever. It's also pink. You all suspect me, don't you? Seaman Stroganoff? Lena is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship. A member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel, I almost called her an angle, of being criminal. I can be your angle or I can be your devil. So that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that's not possible. I give my tooth. Well, this is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You're a great detective, you should know. Look, truth in eyes, cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin, not Nina, not anyone. Or do you want to tell me that killer can walk through those locked doors? Niet, it's impossible. He's right. But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside. We just talked about this a little bit ago, Susato. Please keep up the pace. That was impossible. Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used. No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so... Susato-san, how can you shift it onto me like that? So Seaman Stroganov has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? To put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? The way to shut the bolt from the inside of the cabin door, it's when the ship tilted, right? One way does spring to mind, yes. Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, and so should you. I can't remember where she said she was at the time that the ship had tilted and all this happened. I don't remember. Because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt shut from the outside. It's the bookshelf. Can I not use the bookshelf as an example? Is there another... I guess I just have to point at it? I thought the bookshelf would be the obvious one, seeing as how everything is slid across. Oh, can I... Oh, does it not light up? Okay, it doesn't light up here. Oops.
Yes!
Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over. That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia acting on the objects. Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book? Yeah, how big is that book and what is it even on? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books on that bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonoga. Oh, yes! That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the forces of ineptia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed... And that would make sense as well, because if she worked here before, isn't it entirely possible that she would... Yeah, she could have done that. After he was killed. Were you talking like he knew this all along, but he needed Sholmes to rebuild these accusations? Yeah, true. The SS Buria made another emergency stop, so she could have done this herself or asked the captain to do it. It's very unclear. When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments... It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that! And I stood them all up again, didn't I? Then, when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over. Just like Mr. Asogi's cabin. Oh my! Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Are you out of your mind? You say Buria made emergency stop? It's why everyone has headaches. Everyone hit their heads and got knocked out. It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that have possibly happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you to only press the button in times of emergency. How would they have stopped the sound? On dark nights, when the fog is this dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. But how would no one have remembered it ringing? That's the part I'm a little confused on. Mr. Sholmes? Surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. Are you saying that you slammed the button out of just pure curiosity? To be pressed, whatever the occasion. Oh, we just found the soul player. Confirmed, Sholmes plays soul bad guy. If there is a button to be pressed, you press the button. He sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with the ship? I report you to the captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure that all can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So what we must now consider... But Zeno, you know I play Leo and press buttons at all times. Very true. Sholmes didn't pay $60 to block. Sees red button, presses it. Huh, it seems I've started a nuclear war. Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi... Did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not? You're idiots! Birdia is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make an emergency stop even in the middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Show us, my good man. It's the ship's log, right? Because the ship's log just stops last night. Oops.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. It's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right? Duh. That is correct. Why? And the ship's log here, this would be where you record the details of your duties. What are you doing with that? That is mine. Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop a little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we look into our care with a mind to return it to you later. We took it into our care. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log? It is... Duh. Because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you? Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Buria. Starting to look suspicious. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. There must have been an emergency. Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night? Stop talking rubbish! If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really happened, surely all of us would have noticed. That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Yeah, that's what I was bringing up. As ridiculous an Ace Attorney as it possibly is, I think everyone on the entire ship hit their head and got knocked out or something. What do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We've all suffered with it. Oh, yes, I've had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside in the wardrobe. Then, the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe. And had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Well, yes. Sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. Are they suggesting that, like, we were all, like, poisoned or drugged or something? So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right, he didn't touch it. Is that relevant? Oh my god, it actually might be the chicken. My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say... Oh, I see what they mean. Because Kazuma was still up writing last night, that means that he is the only person that wasn't affected. What I had assumed had happened is everyone just fell and hit their head and they were going to Ace Attorney that saying, wow, everyone fell so violently because there wasn't a warning and hit their head. And that Kazuma, because of his weird samurai training, managed to steel himself and drive his sword into the floor or something like that, you know? But no, they're going this route. Okay. I do. No, really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber to those who consumed it. A sleeping drug. Do you mean... Whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug, so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. The whole crew? Well, Seaman? Sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. And if you refuse to talk, there would have been an inquiry made through the shipping company. And if were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would have hauled over to the coals. Would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. Please, no more. I will tell everything. Eh? I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. So they were all in on sneaking her across because she used to sing here, so they really wanted to help her. Or she not sing, but she used to dance here. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes. So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me. We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. All wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. The music is so good in this game, like, the moment some of these tracks hit, I really start feeling something. You're right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Duh, we could not make all drug, how do you say, dissolve? Talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel aboard. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boats. All the passengers of the SS Beria slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-reducing potion their evening meals had contained. So that's what happened. The only people awake on the ship last night were the crew. People who disliked chicken and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock KAZUMA Cabin's door. KAZUMA Cabins? Made it sound like a restaurant. Welcome to the KAZUMA Cabin. What can I get you? How does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Oh, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins. After which, they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. Yeah, that's true. They would have locked the doors themselves and then fallen asleep. The overwhelming majority of passengers would have habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyways, so none of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. Your Russia accent's pretty spicy. It's not very good. I don't really know how to roll my R's correctly. There's a lot of people who do, so I'm just kind of winging it. You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But... I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories we don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our own eyes. A laudable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind? What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry? You've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. You can't hear such a call with your ears. No. You must hear it with your eyes. For observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe that the time has come. For one final logic and reasoning spectacular. To expose the truth. Oh, we're getting to the end here. There's actually no court case in here. We're Edgeworth investigationing this. Let's go. It's actually kind of neat. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said of these two prevaricators. Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asoki's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely. You're delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Well, the only two things I could guess is if, like, KAZUMA tried to struggle, but it said he died instantly, so I don't think so. So they wouldn't have any injuries. unless there's a specific injury. But it seems that whatever that inkwell was fell when the ship tipped, perhaps? No, because the ship must have tipped afterwards because the door was locked. Meaning that maybe they have some ink on them or something? Alright, I'll see what I can see. We're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when KAZUMA died. It's you. It's not your hair. Damn, you're strong. Chunky arms. It's definitely his chunky arms. I was right. There it is.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Eh? Oh yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from. So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain. What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of a Seaman Stroganoff's uniform. Or of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform. And I think what made it clear... Indeed it is. So Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is. Boom, bam! There's no actual picture of the inkwell. I know what that is, but like, there's no picture of it. I guess I just have to use this, because that's what it was written in. It was probably written in the inkwell stuff. Yeah, it's that. Has to be.
Yes!
Don't actually have a picture of the inkwell itself. Yes, it's this photograph. The ink, it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink? A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. I reacted to that so uninterestingly. Ah, the penny drops at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means... you must have been present in the cabin. In the moments immediately after the ink was split. Or spilt. Split. Yeah, I karate chopped the inkwell in half. Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Buria do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so that no one would suspect our angel. What? Biff, please. Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet. Biff, please. You must help me. I went with her. To the cabin door, number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened here? Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend. Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Asogi's cabin. Beef Stroganoff is a nice meat pun. Yeah, I pointed out the first time we saw this character, actually. It was one of the few puns I actually got for once. Normally the Ace Attorney puns go right over my head. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell onto the floor? Yes, that is right. So after the incident, when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard the sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel. The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after. There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind. What? When you went out to Mr. Sogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why? I already told you. When Nina opened the door of student's cabin and looked inside, was asking Miss Pavlova. Damn. Well, Miss Pavlova, I don't feel like this is entirely true. Duh. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, and not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. I mean, is that right? Is that finally it now? I mean, does it really make sense that he died from such a specific accident? I don't believe it. I'm not believing this for a split second. Is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death? No, there's no way. Why would Kazuma just happenstance die on a trip over here when he needs to be protected by Hosonoga? That doesn't make any sense. That's not likely at all. There's something we're missing. It's just a tiny piece. Oh, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph? Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there's one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural. It's the closed fist. Because when you hit the floor, you do it hands open. You don't lock up your fist and slam your fist into the ground like Master Chief. That's what I was wondering about earlier. What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well... You don't do an armor lock pose. Actually, Kazuma might. Kazuma might have died in the Halo armor lock pose, but I don't know that for sure, right? If Kazuma tripped and fell by some terrible stroke of bad luck and broke his neck, that's why this photographic print seems unnatural.
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell to an unfortunate accident, then his fist just doesn't seem quite right. Kazuma really went armor lock, bitch. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms first. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, holding something. As though he were gripping something. What do you mean? I simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why do you say this forever ago? Why, of course, my dear madam, would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found. Is that one of her earrings? Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. You're right, a crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does that tell us? It tells us nothing. Because she has one on. I saw it earlier. She has that little golden speck right there. You can see it. Her other ear doesn't have it. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Yeah, there's no way Kazuma was caught off guard. I don't believe that. Like, he was caught off guard, but he reacted. Because he's Kazuma. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe, find the answer with your own eyes. So if you look on this side, just like I thought, yep, she has one, and the other has been torn off.
Yes!
She is a Russian assassin sent to kill Kazuma, just like I thought. Well, I mean, I didn't think that, but like I said, it wasn't quite right. God, we can't really leave him alone, can we? Yeah. Good find, though. That took me a while. I think the only reason I got it so quickly is because I was worried about it earlier. I was worried about his clenched fist in a part of the case in which the game didn't want me to look at it about, like, maybe 40 minutes ago. And I was like, well, what about this? This seems super weird. And the game's like, no, that's not what we're looking at right now. Come on, shut up. Find something else. I'm like, okay. So, I think that's why my mind was so focused on it. I did the same thing in the first case where I thought about something really early, and I spent the entire case waiting for the moment to present it, but it didn't want me to present it yet. It was that kind of thing. Miss Pavlova, I noticed that on your ear. Even though you have a metal earring, the decorative part of it seems to be missing. The little link holding it must have broken, I suppose. What? But looking at your other ear, I noticed a crescent moon. Ah! I don't believe it! Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova. Mr. Asogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night, Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. Then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no. Angel? Oh, this poor dude loves her with all his heart, and she's about to, like, betray all that. No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? Oh damn, she just took damage. When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible long day. Darka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving at her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darkov would not come back. Emotional damage. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, he thought it was Hosonoga. Oh. I'm sorry. Thought it was a friend of mine. The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, I was going to leave this man's cabin. And he noticed the earring, and you pushed him, and he fell. Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Oh, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina. Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina? Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But, what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you run away. Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Oh! He was going to go to the wardrobe and ask KAZUMA, and he thought he was going to give her away. Oh, no! Why did I think I could trust him? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Darka jumped out of my arms, down to the young man's feet. And he tripped. As he turned around to look at me... Oh! Oh, I pushed him, so she did push him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And... I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. And that's when you went to fetch help. From Seaman Stroganov, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and fell on the floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go." So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in KAZUMA's cabin to make it look like I did it. So no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Yes. I went into cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. Then I found stowaway and wardrobe, still sleeping. Right. That's when he found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway. I closed wardrobe doors and put strange paper sign. Luckily for me, it's the only reason Susato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to a good place and used ink that was spilling to white on the floor. I wrote whatever that is, so that the person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up. I see. But it was dark in the cabin, and I didn't notice the other half. Then Angel went back to her cabin and finished the job. Wait, why'd you put a glass bell around your cat's neck? Isn't that, like, super dangerous? It's super heavy on their neck, too. So with how large that thing was. By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway? Yes. Accordingly, the Asasberia did indeed come to an emergency halt a little after 2 a.m. Thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. Wait, there's one... Wait, what did he say? Sorry, I zoned out for a second. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes. But even if he had pulled the bell and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? It was what he said first that made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, she thought she was going to call Inspector Hosonoga. Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Oh, yes, meaning me. Who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, I... May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. No, he was gonna ask us. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? God, her eyes, like, kill me. I don't know what it is. I know she has, like, a generic anime face, and she looks, like, really close to Maya in a lot of ways. But, like... the way her eye, she has, like, this blank stare a lot of the time. It's just, like... you feel it bearing into your soul when she's talking about Kazuma. Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but... he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give you your secret away, then he wouldn't have done. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Day's work is not yet done, it seems. There's one more deduction to make. What, another deduction? Yes, what action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed? Yeah, we know. First, consider the victim's location with his cabin. That's easy, I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama? Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes! If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night... I'm sorry. Certainly, it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however... what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. The wardrobe? And more importantly, what's inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Ah! Miss Pavlova, please. Think back very carefully. What were Mr. Asogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment, I could use another opinion here. Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. Oh, no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Sogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had. Miss Pavlova. I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. Unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done? Okay. So at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Varia was finally laid to rest. (9th January, 7:14 p.m. SS Varia First Class, cabin passageway. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to, repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? This case is so, like... Oh, it sucks. It sucks so much. Because I know when she pushed him, it was probably just a freak-out moment. She wasn't, like, fully intending on murder. It was just like, no, wait a minute, stop. And that's what she wanted to do. But when she pushed him, it just ended up so bad. Like... She's only, like, how old was she? Didn't she say she was only, like, 16? Like... I go to the court record really quickly and look at her. Yeah, she's 15 and committed murder. That is so, like... Ugh. This whole case just feels so bad. Lost her best friend. The person who's guilty isn't someone who did this even on purpose and was just in an unfortunate position. Stroganov over there is sad out of his mind because you can tell that they were really good friends. Man. I wanted to see the Funny Attorney Man game. Why is this making me cry? Sucks. So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I'm sorry. Seaman Stroganov? I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you. About how you lost a good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, I thank you for letting me go free again. KAZUMA's death feels like such a waste, but... Well... Do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Duh. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes. I did stow away after all. Couldn't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. And just sleeping in the cabin where your friend died. They haven't even cleaned up the chicken bone! Looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun, then. To think that only days ago, KAZUMA and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. Seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? How did she get in her room? Susato-san? Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonoga just told me I should pack, you know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. I still can't believe this has happened. Can't believe someone's life can be over just like that. Susato-san. No one's really been given time to grieve. You had such great ideas for this visit to Great Britain. Or grand ideas. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much. Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Oh, I thought how is everyone in here? Inspector. I guess everyone has just been standing around, I guess. My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed. And caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. I will do anything to make up for this terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now, at least. Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo! What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter? Simply that in my head, I think I should always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So decided to restore them, for old time's sake, shall we say. You're a stowaway, after all. He thinks this is funny? Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan to make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. Was to be. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no. I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. Oh, that's where they're going with this. This is how Naruhodo's gonna become a lawyer. He's just gonna lie and say he's one. There's no one else with necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid. Oh, but anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. Yes? Miss Susato? Yes? Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry, in that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain. Doesn't that mean he has to learn literally an entire language? That's ridiculous. I'm doing things. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if, by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. Ryunosuke is an English major. You already got the English part down. Oh, he's an English major? But literally in the case like a week ago, he couldn't even understand what the lady was saying. He knew none of it. Or it was like a month ago. He almost knew nothing. Is he really? That doesn't make much sense to me, at least. How is he going to learn Great Britain's laws in a Russian ship? I'm guessing Kazuma probably had books with him. They're all the books that are stacked up in his case and whatnot. Well, why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma. So there was something he had to do in Great Britain. That he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't just let all that passion come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit, too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Miss Susato? She can smile! I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, 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 this is madness! Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating? Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character. No? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite with the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector! After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here. Oh, thank you, Inspector. If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. Need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my reports. Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer? I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant after all. Thank you. And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this. What? Me? Are you sure? I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Kuruma. It's the great sword that's been in the Asogi clan for generations. Very well, I accept. I'll treasure it, always. So then, Miss Susato, seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet. It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. I just want to finish out this case. This end is so long. For the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study. Yes, that's exactly what I need. But, before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you, too. Goodness, what is it? Please throw me to the ground. 3 times! What? I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you never would have done anything to hurt him. It should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away and the cabin door was locked from the inside. No, I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times! The number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please, you must. Take hold of me and throw me, do it. Don't even think about it. No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training. Oh, Mr. Shalms. I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess, I was most impressed. When did he see that? Presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling? Oh, well, in a way. It's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujutsu technique. Apparently, it's called the Susato takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I'm a practitioner of the combative art myself. I am somewhat of an accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw. Yes, I'd be honored. Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madame. Oh, of course. Don't throw me. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? Oh. As you can see, you throw from the abdomen. Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susato takedown, is it? Actually, no. That was a Susato squash. Why does it have a different name? In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. Kuruma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. It can't be parted from my katana. Kuruma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. Susato and Guilty Gear when. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course, I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. An important thing he had to do. Still don't know what that was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. I'll Oh my goodness, that was a case and a half. I can't believe how good this game is so far. Like, this game has done something magical that I don't think any other Ace Attorney game has really done as well. And that is linking me not just physically to the first two cases, like physically linking the first two cases together, but also emotionally linking the first two cases together very well. You know, I've had one or the other where they physically link like the victims in the first two cases, or they make me feel emotions due to that. But these first two cases are such a good intro to an Ace Attorney game. Like, I can't believe how good this was. Granted, I do feel like a couple parts did drone on a little bit longer than they needed to, with like repetition of very obvious facts. But hot damn, that was exciting. I'm probably gonna have to split this into 2 episodes on YouTube, but whatever. Thank you. Normally I'd sit around and talk about this episode more, but I'm gonna save it for the next stream because I have to go eat. I have not eaten in a very long time. So thank you all for watching. Usually these Ace Attorney streams have a lot more people than I normally have viewing. So if you haven't followed, make sure you click the follow button so you know when I'm live. Join the Discord as well. All right, I will see you folks later. Thank you so much for watching. You all have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.